Hey guys, what's going on? It's Barely, and as you guys know on this channel, we focus on the smaller things that you can do on your stream to improve it and make it more professional, and today is the Hollywood edition. This is all about Hollywood, it's about film. You need a webcam. I just want to throw that out there so no one's getting to that fifth and final point and it was all webcam related and everyone's like, what? But with that being said, let's get to it. So we're gonna start off with the most simple step first. We're gonna get into the big boy steps here after this. But number one is motion. In Hollywood, film has always been called a motion picture, and it's always been called a motion picture for a reason, because it has motion. So on my YouTube videos, I don't do this because it distracts from my face, but on Twitch, I do this all the time. I always lurk on somebody in the background. This might be very familiar to you guys. In my 5 smaller ideas for smaller streamers video, as you can find right up there, this was tip number 3, having someone lurked in the background. But the reason why I mentioned this in that video was for way different points. This is more of a film reason why you should have this in your background. Have color changing lights that acts as motion. And if you happen to have a second webcam or old GoPro laying around, use it as a second camera. As you can see in my streams, I actually allow the viewer to change my camera angles whenever they want using commands. And if you guys want to see all the motion that I use, the lurking, my crazy hand movements, the lights being changed, and the camera angles being changed live by you guys using commands in Twitch, come follow me over on my Twitch channel. You can see this all done live, so you know how much motion you should probably be adding into your Twitch. I stream 5 days a week. The schedule is found on my Twitch page. Come check me out, twitch.tv/barely. Alright, so I got 4 more points for you, and each one of these points are taken directly from big blockbuster Hollywood movies. So tip number 2, follow the rule of thirds. So before I even put the rule of thirds on screen for you guys to see, I want to define what this is in words as well. And it's hard to describe, so I'm just going to use Google and see what Google says. The rule of thirds is a type of composition in which an image is divided evenly into thirds, both horizontally and vertically, and the subject of the image is placed at the intersection of those dividing lines or along one of the lines itself. So let's check out my image divided equally horizontally and vertically. Perfect. So where am I sitting right now? Where have I been sitting on my last video and the video that I released before that? If you come watch my Twitch, where am I always sitting on my Twitch? Since I would be the subject, I need to be placed in the rule of thirds, and this entire time, my right eye has pretty much been on the intersecting line in the rule of thirds. So the reason why this is used is studies show that the human eye falls naturally on these intersecting points. And remember, film doesn't only use this, photography also uses this as well. And if you think I'm lying, check out where I'm sitting right now, and then peep this beautiful shot of Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, literally taking directly out of the Avengers movie, is standing in the same spot I am to be in the rule of thirds. So right here is another scene from the Avengers that does this perfectly. The table is snuck in beautifully on the bottom of the rule of thirds, and Robert Downey Jr.'s face falls directly on the top right intersecting lines, and they continue to follow this rule all throughout this conversation between him and Pepper. This is widely used, so why aren't you using it in your Twitch? Alright, so point 3 would be vanishing points. So just like the last tip we talked about, vanishing points are used in photography as well. When you get 2 lines that seem to be parallel, but depending on where the camera's positioned, or where you, or the audience is positioned, these parallel lines, after they do travel some distance, look like they eventually touch each other, but in reality they're just getting farther away. So these parallel lines, as defined by parallel lines, are never going to touch, but again, these lines are just getting so far away that they are seeming to eventually converge together. So what this does in photography and film, it leads the audience member's eyes to the subject. It also gives the composition stability, makes the environment seem concrete, stern, meant to be there. It can also make the engineering of buildings look immaculate and professional. I don't know if anyone has OCD, but when a shot has perfect parallel lines, especially when it's on both sides of the shot, it just looks sturdy, clean, smooth. Like, don't tell me these don't look good. But again, yes, it also leads your eyes to the subject. And when you're on Twitch, that's the most important part. People are supposed to be looking at you if they're not looking at the gameplay. But even if your gameplay is showing, your webcam is somewhere on the scene. People will still feel this effect. If you're on your intermission screen, this is where it's most important, but also super important if you're a just chatting streamer. So where's my vanishing point? Right here. The monitor has parallel lines. Now, from a distance where the camera is, where the audience, you guys, are sitting right now, at a distance, if the monitor were to continue for a long distance, the lines, the parallel lines, would seem to converge eventually. So the vanishing point made by my monitor makes it really easy for the eyes to follow to the next monitor, and then from that monitor to the whiteboard back to me. This does heavily relate to the first point, give your background some purpose. So point number 4 is headroom. Headroom is what it sounds like. There's a certain amount of room you want to keep from the top of your head to the top of the camera. And having the right amount of space is what can make or break your shot. And it's super easy to figure out how much space you do need on top of your head. Just use references. Here are the shot types used by Hollywood. There's the extreme long shot, the very long shot, medium shot, mid shot, medium close-up, big close-up, and extreme close-up. So use these shots as reference to figure out which one is closest to your camera setup. Now match your headroom to the headroom the girl uses in her shot. And then you're done, pretty much. But I'm gonna go into some more detail for good measure. Most streamers' camera setups that I've seen are mid shots or medium close-ups. The headroom for these shots, I describe them as an inch or two. Not very much. I'm kind of in the middle. When you take a look at my camera shot right now, you can see my waist, so you might think this is a mid shot. The only reason you can see my waist right now is because my camera is higher up, pointing downwards. So when it comes to the actual distance from the camera to the subject, I look more like a medium close-up. So I'm really either mid shot or medium close-up. So the distance from the top of the head to the top of the camera is pretty much the same. Okay, what if your camera setup is neither of those and you're a close-up shot? I doubt anyone is this close on Twitch. Instead of an inch or two of headroom, it's more of an inch or two of cut. As you can see, it's a close-up, so there's no headroom left. At this point, filmmakers don't use headroom, they use head cut. And when you get really close, like big close-up or extreme close-up, it turns into eye room. Just study the close-up reference and you'll be fine. What's that? You don't believe me again? Here's a mid shot, look at the headroom. Here's a medium close-up. Look at the headroom. Compare this shot's headroom to my headroom. It's the same. Here's an example of a close-up. Look how much head they're cutting off. And here's an example of a big close-up. Look at how much eye room they have. The main point to Twitch is to not offset your audience, to not put your audience off. You want to make your audience feel comfortable. And if they're comfortable, they're going to be more willing to stay there to experience your entertainment. So the 5th and final tip filmmakers use is proper camera height. Depending on how high your camera is or how low your camera is, you can come off looking like a villain, a hero, a protagonist or an antagonist, the big boy or the underdog. So for your Twitch audience, do you want them to feel like the underdog? Probably not. I know I say this a lot, but again, you want your audience to feel comfortable. And for the majority of people, feeling comfortable means being on the same level as you. You don't want to come off big and strong and scary to your audience and make them feel small, but also you don't want them to feel super big and for you to feel small, because to them you might come off as insignificant. So how do you portray who's smaller and who's bigger? Of course, with the camera height. So remember that the camera is your audience. That is their point of view. So right now you guys are placed higher than I am, which makes you guys taller than me. You're bigger than me. I am now smaller than you. If anything, it almost looks like we're on the same level, and if anything, you guys are a little bit above me. Maybe you guys feel a little bit more comfortable, which is the best thing for your audience to feel like. When the camera is up high looking down, the subject looks super small. But you as an audience member feel super big compared to that character. But now the camera is down low, and you are looking up to this character. And now this character feels big, strong, and you feel small, insignificant, and quite uncomfortable. So again, another blockbuster movie using this exact same tip. All of these things are right there in all of your favorite movies. Pick your favorite movie from Netflix, go watch it, and check for the rule of thirds, check for the lead room. Check out those headrooms, camera positioning, study those, and then implement them into your streams. Notice how all of these things that I just mentioned cost $0, and it's gonna improve your stream a lot. And what about lighting? That's gonna be part 2. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification if you want to see the next video coming out. More Hollywood tips, but this time it'll be lighting tips. And no, not hundreds of dollars worth of lights. I'll give you tips and tricks next time on how to light your scene for free. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Comment down below, share the video, favorite the video, do all these things because YouTube algorithm stuff, of course. And I'll see you over at my Twitch. Again, twitch.tv/barely. Check out the last YouTube video, 5 smaller ideas for smaller streamers. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. I love y'all. Peace. See you next time.
We're fine. We're fine. Clearly something's gonna happen before I get there. Like, we're fine, dude. Oh my god. Holy shit. Holy shit. Why are you here, bro? Why are you here?